So a bunch of you have already paid your price. You've been a wage slave, and now you're on a fixed income. And what happened? Now your wages are fixed and you can't afford to live on them. You were promised golden years. So you traded 40 years of work where you gave your whole life to someone else. And now you're in your golden years and they're not golden at all. They're very tarnished because you can't live on it. So what I'm offering you is freedom. You know, there is a continuum of freedom. First, we live in the freest country in the world, and that kind of goes without saying. We have a lot of political freedom. But you know what we don't have is monetary freedom. There are two kinds of tyranny. There's the tyranny, political tyranny, and then there's tyranny of the marketplace. And those are very different things. We're all free. We're some of the freest people who have ever lived. But the price of that freedom is the tyranny of the marketplace. We are owned and controlled and dominated by the dollar bill. You have to have a dollar to live. You don't have a dollar, you die. And so we have sold ourselves on the market. As in capitalism, everything is capital. Everything is for sale. And your time and your energy and your talent is put on the marketplace. You create a resume and hand it out and see who will buy my resume, who will buy my energy, who will buy my life that I'm giving away. And so you hand out your resume, and with it goes your whole life. Your whole life goes with it. And so we become wage slaves. Your boss tells you when to work, tells you when to get here. When you get there, he tells you what to do. If you want to go somewhere else and do something else, you can't just go. You have to go and ask him for a day off or leave time or a vacation time. He owns and controls your life. Now, he gives you your evenings, he gives you your weekends. Maybe you have to work 2 jobs and you never get a weekend and you never get a day off. Maybe you and your wife are working your way up the corporate ladder and you're both working 60, 70 hours a week, and then you bring your work home with you. You never get time off. Your boss owns your whole life, beginning to end. How many choices do you make in a day that you decide and not your boss? And the answer, sadly, is mostly not very many. My job owns my time and my energy and me, and I do what he says. So while we're very free, we're not free of the dollar. And you can say, I'm not going to chase the dollar anymore. I'm going to live my own life. Well, then you're going to starve to death. And so there's no one with a gun saying you will work. Obviously, we're very free in that way, but there's a dollar bill that says you will starve to death if you don't work. So we're all wage slaves, whether we want to admit it or not. We sell our soul, we sell our time, our energy, and our knowledge on the capital market. And if you're tired of that, I'm offering you a way out. And there are a bunch of you out there who are on fixed incomes now. You've paid, you've been the wage slave for the last 40 years, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And now you're on a fixed income. So a bunch of you have already paid your price. You've been a wage slave, you've been paying your boss, you've been obeying your boss, and now you're on a fixed income. And what happens? You live in a high rent, low wage nation. Now your wages are fixed and you can't afford to live on them. You were promised golden years. So you traded 40 years of work where you gave your whole life to someone else for your golden years. And now you're in your golden years and they're not golden at all. They're very tarnished because you can't live on it. So you get $800, $1,000 a month, $1,500 a month on your Social Security, and then you pay $800, $1,000 a month out, and then you turn around with that money and pay your rent or your house payment, and it's all gone. There's nothing left. You're not living. You have to make choices sometimes. Many of you who are living on $800, $1,000 a month and paying $800, $1,000 a month in rent, you have to choose, will I eat or will I pay my rent? Will I go to a doctor or will I pay my electric bill? Those are your choices at the end of the month. I'm offering a way out of that. The way out is very, very simple. If at the beginning of every month, if instead of giving the landlord $800, $1,000 a month more, and the answer is very, very simple. Instead of giving the landlord $800 a month, $1,000, and then paying the electric bills, and then paying all your other utilities. What if you put all that money in your pocket? How could you possibly do that? What kind of a quality of life would you have if you put that money in your pocket and you were the landlord of your life instead of someone else? Well, that's what happened to me. I was forced to move into a van because I couldn't afford to pay the landlord anymore. And then I started putting that money in my pocket every month, and suddenly before I was barely surviving, and all of a sudden I was thriving. At the end of every month I had extra. I had a lot extra. And I thought, why have I been paying for rent when everything I want and need is in a van? So it's really simple. By living so cheaply and so frugally in a car, van, or RV, you can live a high quality life of your choosing. So like I said, I'm offering you freedom from being a wage slave, but freedom isn't free. And so living in a car, van, or RV means you will have much less comfort, you will have less safety and less security. It's a continuum. On one hand, if you live in a house and it's big, it's nice, it's very, very comfortable. You lock all the doors, you put bars on the windows, and it's very safe, very secure, very comfortable. And then on the other hand, you have no freedom because you have to keep working and obeying your boss to pay for all that. But on the extreme opposite end of the continuum, if you move into a car or a van, you have no house payment. You have very little payments. You just basically have to eat and buy your internet and a few other things. And so now you've got total freedom, but you're living in a car or a van. You're giving up comfort. You're giving up the security of the job and knowing what's coming. Got a job, a paycheck coming every week. And you're giving away some safety because you live in a van. I live out here, and I would rather live here than any house in America. But I'm less safe and secure here. And so I would rather be here and free and do without those comforts and safety and security. That's a great price for me to pay. I gladly pay it. If you're willing to pay that price, it can be here for you too. Now, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. Let me say that too right away. Maybe you're retired and you got plenty of money, and yeah, you traded the 40 best years of your life, and now you got some pretty darn good years now. You can just take trips, and you want to keep, say you don't want to become a full-time nomad. You don't want to live in a car, van, or RV all the time. Well, you can keep your home base and then travel 2, 3, 4 months out of the year. So there is a continuum of how you live this life. And if that's what you want, if you want to just keep your home base, spend your summers at home in a northern state and where it's beautiful in the summer but really cold in the winter, and then you want to spend your winters in Arizona or Florida or wherever, Mexico, you can easily go to Mexico in a car, van, or RV, then you have that choice. So this life can be for nearly anyone. And when we're done, my goal in this course is to answer all your questions. A lot of questions going around in your mind now. Well, how am I going to go to the bathroom? How am I going to get a job? How am I going to get the money I need? Just many, many questions that you will have about living in a car, van, or RV. And I'm going to answer them all over this course. So if you'll keep coming back, I will tell you how to grab freedom and be free, and how you can have your very best life and get out and see places like this. I see places like this all the time. This is where I live, and you can too. And so if life has become dull and monotonous, or worse, you're on a fixed income and you don't even know how you're going to survive the month, well, you get an eviction notice. Whatever your role in life, if you got a great home but you just want to travel, whatever your situation in life, there is something in this course for you. So keep coming back. I'll answer all your questions, give you a broad outline. I'll give you an ultimate crash course to living on the road, how you can afford a life of travel and adventure by living in a car, van, or RV. You can do it. I've done it. Thousands and thousands of others have done it. The life is waiting for you. So we'll see you on the next class.